they set up the obstacle course in Bryant Denny Stadium.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I think that's what they ought to do if they're not going to play a real game.
Or not?
I don't know that. I think that's still up in the air.
Okay.
This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
And then we'll do the combine bit again. Right. All right. Here we go. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on a Tuesday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well as the week's getting rolling. We're live in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios right here off of McFarland Boulevard, broadcasting on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Red Circle, BUBBL, you can get your show, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We're going to have a lot of fun today with our friend Theo Fernandez. We're going to talk Alabama basketball against Georgia, 5:30. ESPN. Does anybody still have ESPN News?
Joe, I forgot it was a thing, honestly. ESPN News, 2016 right there. What are we doing?
Yeah, absolutely nuts. That is where Alabama basketball. Will I be able to get it on my ESPN app today?
I'm not sure. We got to do some research.
If I have to go to some of my pirate streaming sites, I'm gonna be upset about that because I don't have ESPNU. I think on my cable package. I don't know if I have ESPN News on my cable package, but we'll talk about Alabama basketball today as they're taking on the Georgia Bulldogs at 5:30. Katie Wyndham is driving over to Athens for us to cover that game, so make sure you follow her at Katie Wyndham _ on the Twitter machine. We're going to talk a little bit about Alabama baseball as the Crimson Tide back in action today. 5:30, 6 o'clock.
4.
You have an early day. Yeah, 4 o'clock game against Jacksonville State.
That way, hopefully you get out of the arena in time to watch or you get out of Sewell Thomas in time to watch Alabama basketball.
Perfect. Go watch some baseball and then watch you some basketball with dinner.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's perfect afternoon.
There we go. And then you're going to have your evening all to yourself as hopefully Alabama is double victorious on a Tuesday. We're going to talk Alabama football. 8A is on the horizon, so we're going to talk about Alabama football as well as spring practice is going to get started very soon. Good morning, Miss Nancy. Roll Tide to you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day. Nancy Perry is joining us on Facebook. You're leaving us a comment. You can leave us a comment right there as well. Leave us a comment at Theo for Fernandez _, at Joe Gaither 6. You can leave us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. If you want to be a part of the program, the show is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. Visit them online at roofturtle.com for all of your roofing needs. You can find everything, all their products and services right there online. They'll help you out with your residential roofing or your commercial roofing. If you've got needs and problems with your insurance company, they can help you out right there as well. Visit them online at roofturtle.com. So with that, good morning, Theo. How we doing today?
Joe, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful morning. The weather is exceptional this week. It's going to be 75 and sunny at baseball this afternoon. It's a great time right now in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, can't get much better than that from the weather standpoint. I will be taking the dog on a walk here pretty soon, actually. Going to try to get that walk in before all the Alabama athletics get started today. So that's going to be great. It looks beautiful outside, but, the spring storm season's coming. Make sure you visit roofturtle.com.
Absolutely.
All right, Theo, what do you want to start with today? I guess it's basketball because that's the most pertinent information. That's the most interesting thing. Alabama basketball taking on the Georgia Bulldogs at 5:30 today. And Nate Oates yesterday said throw out Ken Palm. Did you hear that? He said, yes, I asked him about the defensive rating. Alabama is up to 59 in defensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm. And he said, we don't use Ken Palm anymore because they don't take into account the players missing for injury. They just, whoever you have is who you have, and that's what they do the analytics on, and they don't really skew things for injuries. He said, we like Haslam metrics right now, and Haslam metrics has us at 38th overall in defensive efficiency. So let's just get into this game tonight as Alabama is taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Alabama is a 1.5 point favorite. They were a 1.5 point underdog. If you missed the boat on that, sorry, you missed probably some Some easy money at Alabama plus 1.5, but Alabama is now minus 1.5, taking them on at 5:30 in Stegman Coliseum. You've had some interesting Alabama-Georgia basketball games over there in the Stegman Coliseum. Most recently, you won, but then you had the game, what was that, 2022, where you went over there. That was the only Georgia SEC win of the season. They were like 1-14, 1-13, beating Alabama for their only SEC win of the year. So an embarrassing loss for NATO. So it hasn't always gone smoothly for Alabama against Georgia. What do you expect tonight, Theo, and what are you hoping to see?
Well, so it feels like the narrative coming in is the whole trap game thing. Hunter DeSiver wrote about that this morning. It was the cover up on the website. It is still right now, but yeah, I think trap game is an accurate description. I know everyone's listening like, oh, wow, Theo Fernandez thinks Alabama could struggle again, but Georgia has put together a solid season, and they do a lot of things that you look and you're like, okay, yeah, I could absolutely see them making it a competitive game against Alabama. First of all, a very impressive run from the Bulldogs early in the season, but Georgia's they've done a lot of the same things well throughout the season, and that is pushing the pace, and that is, having nights where all the shots are falling, where they look like a team that can hang with the Crimson Tide. Now, if you go out and get into just a super fast game and you're shooting it like you did in the first half against Mississippi State on Wednesday, you're going to run them off the gym. You still are the more talented team, right? And you should, in theory, be able to win this game by double digits. But I see Georgia being a team that can hang with Alabama. Not sure if they will.
So Alabama, my biggest issue or my biggest concern for tonight is taking care of the basketball. Georgia is somewhat proficient in turning teams over. Somewhat proficient. They're average 18%. So they're turning teams over at an 18% rate, which I think is 86th in the country. So it's not great, but it's not bad either. And Alabama has shown a couple of times to be careless with the basketball. And look, this looks like a game, Theo. They're not as bad as South Carolina. They're not as bad as Ole Miss. Think about the last couple of games. They're not as bad as LSU. They're better than all three of those teams. And really, Alabama in all three of those games, I don't want to say slept-walked because that's not really the case, but Alabama wasn't exactly dialed in from a competitive standpoint against any of those three opponents. Now, they beat all three of those opponents pretty comfortably because of, being more skilled. And so I'm a little concerned that they're looking at this Georgia team as, they're at the bottom of the SEC. What are they at? They're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th in the SEC, just ahead of the Auburn Tigers. So they're looking at them. They're seeing an 8-8 record in conference play. And look, it doesn't jump off the paper. It doesn't say intimidating. There's no number by Georgia's name. It doesn't say, oh, man, top 4 seed SEC type team. We got to bring our A game. I'm just a little 5:30 game, weird start time.
It is weird.
Will Alabama be a little bit in that lackadaisical sleepwalking mode like they were against South Carolina, Ole Miss, and LSU? Now, again, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and LSU weren't nearly good enough to beat you, and Alabama just rolling the ball out and playing was able to get it done. And I think that even if I think if the circumstances, if South Carolina were higher rated, then Alabama would have stepped their game up and play. Like you said before, playing up and playing down to the competition. I'm worried about Alabama on paper seeing Georgia as an inferior opponent and not taking it very seriously, turning the basketball over, finding themselves in a 12-point hole and thinking, oh, man, we've got to dig our way out of here.
So that I kind of disagree with
a
little bit, just because, look, Georgia, they put together a solid season last year, right? They were a 9 seed. They're right on the 8-9 line right now. And frankly, if it weren't for I think 16-point road loss to Oklahoma, they lost to Ole Miss. They've had some down games. This is a team that could easily be on the 7 line, be on the 6 line. They have put together what I'd call it a weird season, because you don't have. You beat Arkansas at home, and outside of that, you really don't have impressive wins. You or coming off a loss to Vanderbilt and then a win over South Carolina. Like, it's been an odd season. You've played a very high amount of overtime games. You lost to Tennessee in overtime. You lost to Clemson in overtime. There's one other one in there. But like Georgia, they can run, man. They will run with anybody. And they've gotten blown out by Florida. They've gotten blown out a couple times, but when this team is on, they are on. And games like the Arkansas game where they just outpaced Darius Acuff and the Razorbacks. The Clemson game, right? We saw Alabama play Clemson. We've seen that team put together solid performances all year. And I think it was 97-94. They went down to the wire. Like I said, the 1-point overtime loss to Tennessee. Like, I don't think it's playing down. I don't think that is going to necessarily be the culprit for the loss because Georgia stands on its own two legs as a solid, capable NCAA tournament caliber team. Like, there was such a disparity between Alabama and LSU, between Alabama and South Carolina. Georgia's head and shoulders above those rosters, both from a talent perspective and a performance perspective. And like Mike White is a good basketball coach. Florida fans would disagree with me on that statement, but no, he is a winning basketball coach, and it's shown this season.
One big advantage or one maybe problem that was a problem in the last game, won't be a problem in this game. Tennessee was like the number one offensive rebounding team in the nation. Georgia is sitting there, depends on whatever metric you're looking at. 33% rebounding rate is good for 49th in the nation. They're at 35% rebounding rate on KenPom, which is a little lower. So you're not going to have to be worried about, like, when the shot goes up, you should have an easier time collecting defensive rebound, whether it's Aiden Terrell, whether it's Mari Allen, Taylor Bowen, whether it's any of those guys, we should have an easier time collecting the defensive rebound from Georgia, which makes things easier. I mean, Tennessee, look, if you take 20, I mean, you're not going to make a team have 0 offensive rebounds. That's a little impossible. But Tennessee's 25 offensive rebounds resulted in 22 shots. And so what is that? What was reasonable? 7 offensive rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds, 6
Under
offensive
10 should
rebounds.
be
Right.
the goal.
Perfect. And it should have yielded Tennessee 9 extra shots, 10 extra shots, roughly. And you take a dozen shots away from Tennessee at their percentage. That would have been a 10-point game for Alabama. You would have been comfortable in Knoxville if you were able to rebound on the defensive side of the floor. So if you could do that tonight, you protect the basketball, you rebound well, Aiden Terrell, dear baby Jesus, Aiden Terrell stays out of foul trouble. That's the real key right there. If he stays out of foul trouble, because Tennessee or Georgia's got a little a player. I'm not even going to say Cyril is his last name. I cannot pronounce his first name. Do you know how to pronounce his first name?
I do not.
Samtachu Cyril is not how you say his name, but you'll hear some ESPN announcers butcher that tonight. So he stands at 6'11", 260. So he's a big man, and that's going to be a problem for Aiden Terrell to hang with. But he's just there. He's basically just like Alabama, the single forward for Georgia. And so to me, if you can rebound the basketball, you take care of it on offense, you should be leaving Athens with an okay win. 93. You should be leaving Athens with a 90-85 win.
Are we going for official score predictions now, or was that just you throwing out it? Like
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean, KenPom has them. I mean, I know. Sorry, coach, we're not using KenPom anymore, but KenPom had them as a 1-point victory, 92-91. Alabama, 92-91 Alabama.
You see, like, I could absolutely see it being that kind of game, but I am going to come out and show a little more confidence in the Crimson Tide, just because I think that, like we've said with this Georgia team, that plays a very similar style to you, and that's not supposed to kill you on the offensive glass. Like, I think that Alabama just does everything Georgia does just a little better. So in my mind, I look at this and I look, okay, does this turn into just a, breakneck speed shooting threes 10 seconds into the shot clock. And if that happens, Alabama should be able to carve out a nice little 15-point lead.
Right.
So I'm gonna, first of all, I think if it does become the really close game, we could see another game where both teams hit the triple digits.
Woo.
Like it has that kind of potential. But I'm gonna go Alabama. I'm going to go Alabama 101, Georgia 87. I think Alabama has a nice little comfortable win. But like we said, I know we don't always do like 3 keys.
Sure, go ahead if you have any.
Basketball. But I'm going to say right now, if we ever start doing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
That number 1 spot, we can just write in Sharpie, Aiden Sherrill out of foul trouble. Right?
Yes.
Like, is there ever going to be a scenario the rest of the season where that isn't like basically the most important thing for Alabama?
Because if he gets into foul trouble, he comes off the floor, the other team just pounds the paint, and you're playing percentages now. Can you hit enough threes to stay in front of their post players just chunking two-pointer in the paint?
Right, and all the stuff I said, too, with that really fast pace. Aiden Sherrill gets out of the game, that changes things. That means, okay, Georgia's going to slow the game a little more. They're going to try to work inside, like you said, changes the whole complexion of the game. Alabama cannot play its style of basketball. This will hold true for just about every game the rest of the season if Aiden Sherrill is not out there. So that's the thing to watch for basically the whole rest of the season. And tonight is, we'll see, right? You don't trust these guys at all. And we got the basically official confirmation from Nate Oates yesterday that we knew Collins wasn't going to play at all, but that Keaton Bristow will not see the court again this year. Neither will Davion Hanna. I think that was expected. But yeah, it is the Aiden Sherrill show.
Alabama is now up to 14 in KenPom. Alabama's offense is now up to number 3, 129.6 per 100 possessions. Number 3 in offensive efficiency for the season. You're up to 59, as I said, in KenPom in defensive efficiency, and you've fallen a little bit in pace. You're now the 4th fastest team in college basketball. Georgia. Yeah, exactly. Georgia is 32 overall in KenPom. They have a pretty good little offense there at 16th overall, 124.9, so a little lower than Alabama. Their defense also a little worse than Alabama, is at 78th overall, 104.4 points allowed in the 100 possessions. And their pace, is that still pace? Yeah. Their pace is 22nd overall in the country. So they're not afraid to play a quicker pace. So it should make a pretty entertaining basketball game tonight over there in Stegman Coliseum.
And it's interesting. So, and this isn't a fully organic take. It more so is me taking the word of, I got a friend who does some journalism stuff at UGA. And his analysis of the team to me is that Georgia's just been a little bipolar this year. Like they are a team that will always, I don't know if bipolar was the right word. They are a team that will always play the style of basketball that the other team wants to play.
So chameleon, more of a chameleon.
There's a much better word. I don't know where bipolar came from, but yeah, like they will. So they've had games where, things have been slower and where okay, you guys want to take 20 seconds per possession? Sure, we'll do it. Oh, you guys want to run with us the whole entire game? Yeah, we're in. This one will obviously, presumably, be the latter. But I'm not super concerned about Georgia in a scenario where Aiden Sherrill stays in the game. Georgia will play fast with the Crimson Tide. I would bet money on that.
So it's going to be fun tonight. I guess both of us are taking big Alabama wins. We want to encourage you to follow Katie Wyndham as she is driving over to Athens probably in the next hour or so to get over there on time. Katie Wyndham, you can follow her at Katie Wyndham _ on the Twitter machine. Also, for everybody who loves Katie Wyndham, like all of us, she is going to be joining us on Friday to talk about really the week. Alabama basketball, her trip, the softball team, and spring football. So she's going to join us Friday. We're going to have a lot of fun with Katie talking about all kinds of sports over at the Capstone. She's going to be probably helping us out with gymnastics as their season is starting to come to a head. She's super, super busy. So she's going to give us some time on Friday to talk about all the sports that she's covering.
Does SEC play for softball start this weekend? Or are they 1 week away?
Let's find out.
I think they're 1 week ahead of baseball, so I think it does start this week.
They are the softball team. Dugout Classic. That's Tallahassee. We've already done all that. Scroll on down. They're taking on. Is this weekend the 6th? Friday the 6th?
Yes.
Yeah, they're taking on Ole Miss on Friday.
There we go. So we've hit SEC play officially for softball.
Gosh almighty. Alabama over in Oxford on the weekend for softball to open up the softball weekend.
Man, we've said it a lot of times on this show, but this team is good. That's the softball. I was over at a couple of their games, filmed on Tuesday and on Saturday for WVUA, and first of all, Jocelyn Brisky, she wins SEC Pitcher of the Week. She was rolling. But the bats, just every single game, it's someone different. Salem Hawkins hit a couple homers. Alexis Papillo is just a phenomenal slugger. They're just, for the first time in a while, there are 9 batters who could take this ball out of the yard. That is incredible for this team. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, it makes it really fun to kind of keep up with. It's flying by. We're already at SEC play for the women for softball. We'll be at SEC play for baseball next week. So it is flying by. I was thinking about it the other day as we were at the NATO's press conference because he goes, last week of the season, gotta finish it. And I was like, holy smokes, it has flown by. So we are right here. I mean, both of us applying for SEC tournament credentials this morning because, it is flying by.
It is.
And speaking of flying by, let's transition here, Theo, into baseball because Alabama is taking on Jacksonville State today, 4:00, right there at Sewell Thomas Stadium. Give us a 1-minute preview of the baseball game today.
Yeah, Jack State is good. I mean, they're a Conference USA contender. They are 10-2. They've rattled off 10 straight wins. Series win over Memphis a week ago. They're solid. Bobby Alcock is the starter for Alabama today. Grad senior. Was a solid arm out of the bullpen last year. He's only made 2 appearances this season, both in relief. So, look, I mean, these midweek games are pure chaos. Just ask LSU, who lost to 2-6 Northeastern last night for its second midweek loss in 2 weeks. These games are chaotic. And it's impossible to forecast how this game will go. I'm excited to see who we get to see in the lineup. I had an Eric Hines take that's gained some traction, which is that he will be starting soon. I think we'll see him get the start tonight. Yeah, should be a fun day at the Joe. And if you're a student and you're listening to this, you get, by going to this 4:00 game, free dinner, free Alabama baseball camo t-shirt, which those things are sick. I hope that Nick Tissery isn't listening right now because I plan on getting up to the press box, dropping off my backpack, and sneaking around through the student entrance to go get myself a t-shirt. That's too good to not get. I mean, those things are beautiful. I know you're not a big camo guy, Joe, but they are nice.
I know people that are.
I
know
am.
people that are. My girlfriend loves it, and that's what the root of it. And I always go, I can't see you today. And she always thinks it's the dumbest joke in the world.
You do that to me too, and I'm not cool. I'm not happy with it.
Well, don't wear camo, and then we can be able to see you, unless you're going hunting. Exactly. You can't see me. So good little midweek team, but should win.
Should win.
Yeah,
that's the case for all these midweek, unless you're bringing up Southern Miss. That's a different one.
Yeah. You're taking on Jacksonville State today and Alabama State tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, Alabama State. Alabama, for the first time ever, gets to play on SWAC TV. That'll be a big one. Milestone day for the Crimson Tide.
Okay. How do we get SWAC TV?
It's actually free to stream online. I was looking it up. It's pretty cool.
Okay, sweet.
So it's all the SWAC games, and it started this year for football. They just made all these broadcasts free. It's actually a really cool system.
So you might have some folks paying attention to the live updates the next 2 days because of television streaming, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, today's on SEC Plus, which I hate that so much, man. SEC Plus is one of the worst things created.
Yeah, I just go to the app and watch it through there. which is nice because like you are seeing more like it was softball. A lot of their games are on SEC Plus because it's just the static camera behind the dugout. And I mean that's better than just watching it on the internet stat broadcast, watching the game cast go by.
Yeah, and hey, CTP as a former employee over there, Crimson Tide Productions, like they do a solid job with everything.
Right. So I like SEC Plus for what it is. It's basically just
what it is.
It's basically just here's a camera at the game if you want to watch it. So
just follow along with the live blog instead.
Exactly. And it might be a great day to follow along the live blog from Katie Wyndham for basketball if you don't have ESPN News. I know we opened up a little bit tongue in cheek right there, but I'm seriously hoping that when I get home today, I can go to my ESPN app and watch it because I've got a decent little cable package and I've got the ESPN Plus, sign up. So it better be on my ESPN app.
Yeah, I legit. I have no clue.
I don't know.
I think I don't have it because anytime that it starts on another network, right? Because ESPN News is where you go to watch the first 5 minutes of every college basketball game. And I'm pretty sure I don't have it. So I might be pulling up a YouTube stream and going from there.
Yeah, we'll figure that out at about 5:15 or so today. All right, Theo, let's turn our attention to football here because we've been talking a lot of basketball here in the last couple of weeks. But before we do, tell our friends about Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. You can call them at 877-787-6635. They'll come out, give you a free roof inspection today, or visit them online at roofturtle.com. You can see all their products and services, and you can see how they can help you out. Whether you have a metal roof, a shingle roof, it doesn't matter. They'll come check out your roof, make sure you don't have any trouble spots, make sure you don't have any leaks or any cracks, any damage on your roof, so that everything that's in your home is protected from the spring storm season that is ahead. So call them today, 877-787-6635. Visit them online at roofturtle.com. That's Purple Turtle Roofing. Roofing with heart, built to last. All right, we're hanging out with Theo Fernandez in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, and let's turn on. We haven't done a football topic in quite a while. We've been going down the last little bit of SEC basketball season. Only 2 more games for Alabama before the SEC tournament, but we are 5.5 weeks away from Alabama A-Day, or at least what's scheduled to be A-Day. And I do hope everybody gets over to Brian. Speaking about television, that's probably going to be one of those things that's it might just be SEC Plus. It might not be on television. It might be on ESPN. There's all kinds of possibilities.
Do we have any speculation on if a game is being played?
Well, yes. I think a game is being planned. But here's the okay. We go back to last year just a little bit. Two factors messed you up last year. One, the spring portal that's no longer there. All right, the spring portal. We don't want to show. We don't want to play a game. We don't want to show all our cards. We don't want all our roster being tampered with. We don't want guys to be disgruntled and transfer out who may have stayed and hung in their spot. Okay, we're not going to show a game. That was part of it, but a bigger part of it. I mean, Theo, you had William Sanders playing tight end last year in spring practice because you were that injured. Yeah. Like, you look through the entirety of the roster, and tight end is an extreme example, but I'm 95% sure Caden Proctor did no spring practice last year because he was recovering from, I believe, a shoulder issue that it was post-season injury, surgery, cleanup. Right. Like the tight end room is the extreme example, but I think it was throughout the whole roster is who's practicing today, Billy? We've got 5 quarterbacks. Oh, we only have 2 quarterbacks. We got, we have six running backs. Well, we really only have 2 running backs. I think it was a little bit of a struggle to even build a practice plan. And so when you think about, well, how are we going to split this group up into two teams? Well, we're not. We don't have enough for two teams. And so I think the injury factor, the status of the team, the health status of the team was the bigger factor. Everybody's blaming it on the spring transfer portal, which was a factor. I don't want to discredit that as if it was a factor, but I think the larger factor is the health status of the team. You were literally playing with Jay Lindsey and William Sanders at tight end last year. Now, it helped William Sanders because William got to showcase his athleticism. I think it made the coaching staff believe in his adaptability a bit more, and I think that it helped his development personally because you saw him play a decent amount of guard in a backup role last year. And I think he's going to have a future role on this team at guard. But spin us forward to 5 weeks from now. There's no spring portal to deal with, but I think you also have to get through these 5 weeks healthy. You're starting spring practice in, I think, 2 weeks. I believe it's 2 weeks. And you're going to have 5 weeks of practice, right? Excuse me, you're going to have 3 weeks of practice. See, that math was fumbling in my brain. 5 weeks till 8A, 2 weeks till spring practice, 3 weeks of spring practice. I think if you have a situation like last year where, we have 2 wide receivers available at this time. And it wasn't that last year, but I'm just hypothetical a position group. Pick any position group and say, you're 85% of your players are down in that position group. Are you going to hold a game when you don't have any? When you have 2 defensive backs, you have 3. You got your starters at defensive back. All your backup defensive backs are all hurt from busted pinky toe or something simple. Like, I don't want to put anything bad on these guys, right? I think that is still kind of in the air for the 2026 A-Day. No spring portal. We don't have to worry about that, but we want to make sure we're healthy enough to have a game. So that's why I say I think a game is being planned, but I think they're being very cautious in announcing, hey, we're going to have a game, because I think they want to be able to pivot if 2 weeks into spring practice, we only have 1 tight end and we only have 1 middle linebacker, and so we can't really have a game. We back out. Now all the fans are mad at us, and all the pundits are at us, when really we're just trying to do the best thing for our program because we're too hurt to have a game.
And then additionally, there could be a number of players that got work done right after the season, right? And we have no clue yet because we haven't spoken or seen the guys. So, yeah, that's not a bad take. It makes no sense not to have one, right? Joe, that was such a joke. Last year, me, you, and Hunter Desai were sitting in the press box, each counting a different QB's completions on just the fake routes they were throwing. I think that I would be willing to bet that 90% of the fans who attended last year would have no interest in going back if they were told it was the same thing this year. It was not something that would be enjoyable. And yeah, this coming from all the, people I've talked to who went to that game, students and stuff. They didn't have a good time. It was rough.
Yeah, it wasn't a very enjoyable experience from a fan standpoint or from a media standpoint, because it was just chaos on the field, and it was basically just glorified walkthrough on the field with, I think there were maybe 10 team reps the whole day. I think they were, because Keelan only threw 4, 5, 6 passes in team reps the whole day. One of them was an interception and one of them was a touchdown, and was we're going to overreact to these 6 team reps. So I do think that they are intending to have a game and intending to have a more fan-friendly product on the field. But I think that they're being really hesitant on what they are announcing in case a pivot needs to happen, in case Billy busts his finger and Charlie busts his thumb and Mark busted, just in case there's just too many injuries and they say, you know what, we're better off not taking this last spring period as live drills.
I agree with that.
All right, so one quick thing here as we're talking about A-Day. Will we be up in the press box charting Austin Mack and Keelan Russell the same way this year?
I mean, whatever they do, whether it's a game or we're in a.
Is that
that's gonna be all the
valuable?
focus.
Is that valuable? Is what we did last year valuable?
It's valuable in terms of the clicks it generates.
Sure,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
But is that
Is it the best use of our time? No.
is it valuable to who's going to be the starter at the end? Rolling
No.
into that first game.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
Not at all. I don't.
Will we walk out of A-Day with a better idea of who the starter will be?
I'm going to predict that we are going to enter. And first of all, I think we've done a very good job for the first 2 months of the offseason avoiding the QB thing. Right? We were really, making sure we save it for the summer when we need to milk it for 4 days a week, right? I think that we are going to enter summer camp, right? Fall camp, with the same exact outlook on the QB room as we have right now. I do not think we will get any clear or any clarity on who the front runner is going to be. Right now it's basically pure speculation. We'll get a bunch of quotes from DeBoer and Grubb like, oh, these guys, they're so good. They help each other learn so
We think
much.
we have the best two quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, it'll be all that. It will be all of that.
We've got two guys that could start for us.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't feel like a competition because they're always learning off each other, like all that stuff.
Both guys have great attitudes, pushing each other to be good.
Yeah.
High-fiving each other for every good throw. And then one-upping the other every time they go back in.
Oh, the teammates love them both. They love, and the receivers will talk about how they love catching passes.
They're
from
both growing
sides.
as leaders.
It'll be a while before we get clarity.
Unless one guy bombs and one guy excels at A-Day. Is there a chance of one guy bombing and one guy excelling at A-Day? And if so, who's the more likely to excel and who's more likely to bomb?
Well, I think Keelan is more likely to bomb because of the fact that, less experience. I think they're both about even as far as the odds of excelling go, right? Like I could see either of them going out and, oh man, this guy just did some absurd stuff on the field. But if I had to predict one who, first like live reps in front of fans for the first time in a long time, oh man, he had some rough moments out there. I would lean towards Keelan on that. With that being said, I mean, I just don't see how a couple interceptions in a glorified scrimmage in April is going to affect your odds of starting in a game in September. Like, that's just not how it's going to go. It'll change the way we talk about them, but I don't think will change much inside the team.
Yeah, we're going to walk out of A-Day with favorable feelings about both quarterbacks is my prediction. But I think you're going to walk out of A-Day seeing 2 to 3, if they hold a game, 2 to 3 wild throws from Keelan Russell that make you just think, oh my God, he has to be the guy. But equally, there's going to be 1 or 2 just, what are you doing? You missed that read, or you took a bad sack that you didn't have to, or you tried to squeeze it into a window that was too tight and you threw an interception. It's going to be a much bigger swing for Keelan Russell of greatness. Oh my gosh, that throw was incredible. And a little, that was some redshirt freshman ugliness right there. Austin Mack, I think you will see a lot more just consistency in generating the offense. Now, I think Austin has a nice arm, a really nice arm.
Yes.
If you've listened to me at any time, you know that I really do like Austin Mack as well. But I think that the narrative that we'll be combating through the summer is, well, Keelan Russell's potential versus Austin Mack's readiness right now. I think Austin Mack is probably more ready to lead the offense in 2026 than Keelan Russell, but I do think Keelan Russell has just some really, really, really special traits that if you give him time and development and let him work through some growing pains, that could turn into one of the more special quarterbacks that have played here at the Capstone. And so you're going to be walking out of A-Day thinking, well, was B+, A- Austin Mack good enough to take us through 26? Or do you want to go ahead and throw Keelan Russell into here and hope that he starts having more of these wow superstar, just incredible? Like Austin Mack's got a great arm too, but I think Keelan's just got a little bit of an it factor that, when he is playing on 10, his 10 is better than most people's 10s, and probably is going to be better than Austin Mack. But Keelan Russell is also likely to throw in a couple 2s and 1s and 0 plays that are like, ooh, that was not good. Where Austin, I think, is going to be operating on about 8 most of the time.
I don't know. Like I watched, Austin Mack throw right a screen behind his receiver at the Rose Bowl. I watched Austin. Like, it's just, we saw him for a quarter and a half of garbage time football.
Right. I wouldn't even.
It's hard to put any stock into that, and it's also hard.
You saw so many people. I'm sorry, but you saw so many people. He had one half drive or whatever. We should have had him in the whole game.
Led him to a field goal,
right,
to avoid a shutout in a blowout loss.
We should have played him the whole time. Like, guys.
It's a guy that Indiana had, no film on. They thought there's no way we'll see Austin Mack play football in this game. Like, just overall, I think we don't have much on these guys. And I'm going to say this now. I am firmly in the Russell camp for this season. I don't know I know Mason was an Austin Mack guy. I don't know where you stand, but as of right now, my flag is planted right in Keelan Russell is going to be the guy this year. We'll see. It'll be fun. I'm excited I know we won't get much substance this spring, but I'm excited to get the little that we will get.
Well, we will find out in a couple of weeks as Alabama opens spring practice. So, Theo, if Alabama doesn't have a game on A-Day, what should they do? Should they just put tables all out there and just let fans get autographs from the players and just make it a free autograph session? Or what should they do? What should Alabama football do? Should they cancel it altogether? I mean, surely we're not going to cancel A-Day weekend. What should be the pivot if, you get halfway through spring practice and Billy and Charlie and Michael are all dinged up and coach says, man, I really don't want to have a game?
Well, I was speculating. I was just thinking, spitballing with my friends a few days ago, and one of them brought up an interesting take, which is
hot dog eating contest.
That would be fun. What if they, you can't do the official pro day stuff at A-Day, right? You want the indoor closed environment. What if you brought some of those, because pro day is around that time, right? What if you let those guys make some throws out there, and like that would draw people in, right? To see Ty Simpson and Bernard and Proctor do all their stuff. Like, it's an interesting idea from the perspective of, well, okay, wait a minute. People already go to the combine, right? We've seen the money that generates. Joe, everybody would go to watch Ty Simpson throw and watch those guys do some drills. I don't think it would ever really work fully, but
if you could guarantee good weather, yeah.
Right. Like, if it's not something that you could promise ahead of time.
Sure.
Right? Like, you can't make, Ty Simpson's going to try to run a 40 in the rain, and, it's not going to work. But I thought that was an interesting idea from if we could incorporate these guys going to the draft somehow, if we weren't going to play a game, that would get people in their seats.
Sure. I think that's a good idea. I think it's an interesting idea, but you would have to figure out a way. Okay, if it rains or if the weather's bad, how do we pivot?
We install turf in Coleman Coliseum.
That's right. That's right. You put it all the way, just like the putter who's putting all the way across the floor on hardwood floor. Like, yeah, buddy, good luck. Put some turf in Coleman. Is that 40 yards long? I don't even know.
92. Oh no, it is not.
Yeah, exactly. What I think they should consider, which they won't, but they should consider. You know how American Ninja Warrior travels from city to city to city to city, and they've got, the sign-ups, and we put them on, and then they do the TV show, and those folks qualify for the next rounds or whatever. You should put a Ninja Warrior course right through right through Bryant-Denny Stadium. Now, the field and custodial staff will hate it because they'll have to be doctoring the field the rest of the summer to like replace, all the
You've got
weights.
so much time,
right?
You
But
got the
you're
Morgan
already
Wallen
right. You're
concert
already
week
messing up
after.
the field with Morgan Wallen. So you set up the obstacle course, and you know how it is. It's jumping this, it's reaching, it's monkey bars, it's all kinds of stuff. It's sprinting, it's obstacle. I think it would be a fun idea to put the player, much like your pro day, we want to see the guys do what they want to do. Some sort of way to create athletic challenges. You know how the Pro Bowl does the Pro Bowl games. They've got the little obstacle courses for the linebackers, the obstacle courses for the tight ends, and the quarterbacks throw those targeted, the moving targets, and they're all spinning around and they're trying to hit them with the paint dots or whatever for points. I think it would be cool to do some sort of version of that, Alabama Eyes, whether it's straight up American Ninja Warrior or whether it's straight up rip off from the Pro Bowl games like that they do before the Pro Bowl, or some combination of that, to give the fans some sort of walking out of the stadium. I know that player X was better than player Y at this, right? Because look, last year you walked out of there, you're like, well, was Ty better than Keelan or better than Austin? I don't know. Probably, maybe probably was Jam better than Daniel Hill? No, I don't know. You can't really say. Was Jeremy the best receiver or was right? You can't really say. You don't know because it was so convoluted and mixed up. So you can walk out of there and go, well, I know that Ryan Williams ran through the American Ninja Warrior course faster and better than Lazier Brooks. It surprised me that Ryan beat Lazier Brooks when they both got to the rock wall at the same exact time, but it was Ryan who climbed up higher and faster and quicker and hit the buzzer before Lazier. Man, what a competitive heart, right? And it gives him some sort of a competition. Like, you got to give him some sort of a competition style feel. What do you think about that? Putting obstacle courses in Bryant-Denny Stadium and look, the NBA guys, they do it before the NBA Skills Challenge. They're all throwing passes through the targets, and they're all weaving their way through cones in a time. Like, I'm all in. It's you're avoiding major contact. Of course, if Billy falls from the rock wall and hits his head, you can't make it perfectly safe, right? You can't make it 100%. Nobody's going to get hurt, but you can mitigate it. Nobody's slamming into each other. Some sort of a drill, some sort of a competition, some sort of an obstacle course to make the fans feel like they know some sort of an athletic hierarchy on the team.
Yeah, and I mean, from a player perspective, like, you don't want to lose the Ninja Warrior race in front of all those fans. Like, those guys will be motivated.
Yes, right.
I think that is that would be fun to watch.
You got to go through the step. You know how they're jumping on steps across the water or whatever. Who wins? Who's the favorites in this score? I mean, I threw Ryan and Lazier out there, who's the real favorites in your eyes?
Zabian is an absolute. Ooh. How do you be? I think he is the guy on this team.
Yeah, that's a good
pick.
It's
hard to pick against Zabian Brown. I mean, the DBs in general, I think, are like, that is the position that, these guys are probably going to do. Like, you'd think
Dijon Lee, right?
Even like Red Morgan. I mean, that guy's an athlete. Red Morgan might give Zabian a run for his money. The DBs are the position to watch, right? As far as like those guys, like, they are the defensive backs. They're such insane athletes, man, just across the board. Those NFL defensive backs, like, it's as athletic as a person can just about possibly be without being an Olympic athlete, right? I think I'm more curious as to, you let a lineman do it, who's winning that?
Ooh, William. I'm going to take William. I'm going to take William Sanders. I'll take. Well, ooh. I think Jackson Lloyd has a nice case as one of the best athletes. Yeah, I think Jackson Lloyd has a decent case.
Jackson Lloyd, I think he's a good athlete, but I also just think he might just be a little too big. As far, I mean, the guy is 6'7". You almost need one of those smaller linemen, right? I haven't seen races move.
It's A.K. Deere who's leading the offense, right? A.K. Deere, Ryan Williams. Because you want somebody fast, but as you said, I like you want somebody on the shorter end. You don't want anybody 6'7".
Joe, think about the crazy reactions we'd get if Sedarian Morgan went in and just won this thing for the offense, right? Like that would be, oh man, this guy.
Right, because you can also layer it that way.
Yeah,
offenses versus defenses. You can layer it position group. Oh, I'm the best. Well, I'm the most athletic wide receiver on the team, and nobody's transferring out in the spring because they got beat in a Ninja Warrior contest. They're like, whatever. I'm just gonna put my pads on and actually play football.
What a great article that would be to write about the Austin Mack versus Keelan Russell Ninja Warrior competition.
Right, and you've got the pictures of player XYZ emerging from the water after he's fallen from the rings. They're going to the monkey bar rings, and somebody falls and they're in the water. Anguish and agony. Oh, and you put the coaches through it.
Oh yeah,
the most of the coaching staff is on the younger end for college coaches. They're not young, but they're on the younger end of the college coaching sphere. Put the coaches through it. Mo Linguist. Freddie Roach is going to win.
Roach is going to win.
Freddie
I was
Roach,
thinking that as
Mo
you were saying
Linguist. I like those two picks.
Hey, Linguist is an athlete.
Yeah. I like those two picks from the coaching side to win. Does Kalen? When Kalen's a college athlete, he wouldn't embarrass himself, would he?
I think you'd have to put Kalen. I mean, DeBoer is what, like 50? Is he 50?
He's right in there.
Maybe put him against like a Derek Nix or one of the older. Want to see?
He's 51. He'll be 52 this October.
Yeah, I like it. The coaches obviously have to run it, right? You have to put them through it.
That would be hilarious for bonding and for just team camaraderie. Remember in the spring, we couldn't have A-Day because these 10 players were all hurt and we couldn't really do a game. So the coaches and the healthy players ran the obstacle course.
Hear me out. Wipeout.
Tell me.
Wipeout, the water where like you're jumping on the.
The ABC game show.
I want to wipe out
the ABC game show where they've got the little thing they're going around and they're trying to jump over it, and if they get smacked by the pillar or whatever, it knocks them into the pool.
I don't know what kind of budget we're bringing in for A-Day, but
hey, we got to crank it up now.
We do. How about all right? Here's an actual.
Yeah,
you take 4 of the faces of the team, right? They're your captains. You have a 40 team. 10 on 10, like 4 teams of dodgeball.
Perfect.
You do a draft on the field, and then you play a 4-team dodgeball tournament, 10 on 10. That would be phenomenal content.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, Alabama. Are you listening?
They should be.
Like, we're giving you free ideas right here.
The Ninja Warrior.
You could charge for this.
Yeah. The Ninja Warrior, I'm all in on if they're willing to set it up. The dodgeball, look, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
you'd have fun watching.
We're already competing. The worst thing that's going to happen to somebody is they're going to have a mark on their face. It's fine. Everybody's out there. Who are the 4 faces of the team? Who becomes those captains? It becomes Yanzi Pierre maybe, or becomes Bray Hubbard? Bray Hubbard.
Bray and Ryan are captains for sure.
Bray, Ryan, yeah, I like that.
They are no-brainers to be captains. I think you avoid putting any of the QBs in there. Right?
Sure.
Probably. I think you let.
Do you make it Michael Carroll? Do you give any offensive lineman?
To give somebody, but with the offense, maybe we just leave the O-line out of it. I like Yanze being a captain. Then maybe be like a Daniel Hill.
Ooh, yeah.
I think Daniel Hill could be a dodgeball captain. But no, it feels wrong to not have a big guy, right?
You give it to Michael then, sophomore Michael Carroll.
Yeah, we give it to Michael Carroll.
There we go. All right.
I want to watch Alabama dodgeball now.
Would you watch that version of A-Day? What is your ideas for A-Day? Do you want to see a game? Obviously, I think we all want to see a game. But if it's not a game, what could they replace it with that would make you want to come to Tuscaloosa and watch it in Bryant-Denny Stadium? That's the big question right there.
I want voicemails for tomorrow on either the what can we do, what kind of fun competition can we do, or if you have a unique take on who's going to win the Ninja Warrior contest. We want to hear either or both of those.
There we go. 205-462-7340, extension 800. We'll take your voicemails on the combine, on 8A, and on anything else that you have on your brain. React to this Alabama-Georgia game, or react to this Alabama-Jacksonville State baseball game. We're going to get out of here for the day. We're going to get on to Alabama basketball, Alabama baseball. We'll talk about the NFL Combine tomorrow. We'll get to the 40 times. We'll get to who performed well, who interviewed well, and maybe who bombed from the Alabama perspective on tomorrow's program. We appreciate everybody who watched us on the Bama Central Facebook page, on Bama Central's YouTube channel, right here on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6, at Theo Fernandez _, on your favorite podcast platform. And we will talk to you tomorrow right here on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.